Come, follow us
on our journey to get a low-budget
DIY
feature film from script
to screen and beyond.
Nobody knows who we are.
Look at yourselves, realistically, nobody's going to give you that money. Nobody. You don't know who the fuck you are. It's a complete risk. You are unknown.
This is our first feature film, something we're going to do together. You're going to get it warts and all.
For now, you're just some pair of idiots like everyone else.
Never wait for permission. You just have to start.
Give yourself something impossible to do, and then just find the bloody way of making that thing happen.
This is DIY Cinema Cult.
Hello, Mark.
Yee! Hello, Aaron. How you doing? Welcome everyone to episode 26. I think this is. If I'm right.
Is it 26? Oh my God.
Yeah, we're on 26 now.
I feel like we've missed about 5 episodes. I think that episode where we wandered around drunkenly in Alexander Palace took up about 4 episodes.
Yeah, it was long, wasn't it? And very kind of waffly and lots of wind blowing into our mics. And
yeah, we promised that these ones aren't going to be like that, listeners. So if you've managed to stick with us beyond that one, then well done. From here on in, it does get much more sort of straightforward and more useful content.
We're back to our more straightforward, zoomy ones. Not back in the shed yet. I want to do another. I keep banging on about we need to get back in your shed.
I know.
Bring it back to where it started. But
this is very true. Well, we'll have to do. We've got some kind of things coming up, haven't we? Some sort of eventuality. So maybe we'll use the shed as a sort of a opportunity to punctuate some of those eventualities. But it's lovely to see you. I haven't actually seen you as well as done a podcast with you for, I don't know, a couple of months, something like that.
It's a couple of months. We've both been busy boys the first half of this year, haven't we? Or quarter of this year, really. So it's been, I haven't seen you at all. You've been deep into your doc and we've been shooting bits of Old Man, so we've been kind of mad busy.
Shooting bits of Old Man sounds really disturbing, doesn't it? So come on, tell us about you, because I haven't actually even spoken to you properly, like as in a face-to-face or a conversation properly about your shooting Old Man. So wind it all back, because as far as our listeners are concerned, we're just a couple of drunks in Alexander Palace talking about we've got to get some shit together this year.
That's right.
And what's happened?
I think I did say in Ali Pali, I was incredibly vague, even when you asked me then about what was going to happen in our shoot in March. And I think I just said it's going to just be something that's going to just be something. And I don't know what it's going to. And I just didn't know. I just couldn't really commit because it just felt so big at the time. And like we've talked about on this podcast before, and we've talked about Old Man in its early iterations, and it was like a kind of episodic web thing we were going to do. Yeah. And it wasn't until me and you started talking quite realistically about how even doing something on a shoestring, how much that might cost, that we started to think, well, at least if we make it a feature film, then we'll have a chance of recouping some budget on the back end, and then it won't be such a massive burden for me to make. So it did kind of, it's suddenly, and I want to say suddenly, maybe it was around the turn, the new year, that it became a feature film after being this kind of episodic thing for so long. Yeah. And then so much has happened. I don't quite know where to start, because the film, it kind of became a film, and then it kind of fell apart, and the whole project's kind of fallen apart on me maybe 5 or 6 times, quite in quite a calamitous way. And budget fell through, quite a large bit of budget fell through, that meant that we really couldn't make it in any shape to the shoot in March. But it was Rami, actually, our DOP, who basically said, look, I called him up and I said, look, there was a bit of money that I thought we were going to have to make this happen in March. That money isn't there anymore instantly. It kind of went in an instant on some kind of horrible situation. And he just said, look, well, if there's any way you can make this happen, because the location, it was so good. Yeah. He said, if there's any way you can get people up there to shoot for that week, I would just try and do anything. And he kind of pull me back from the brink of me just kind of pulling the plug on the whole thing. In fact, I think in my mind I had pulled my plug on the whole film. And he just gave me that kick up the arse to be like, look, just try. Yeah. Just do something, try and get people there. So I had to call, after telling all the actors that the film looked like it wasn't happening, I had to go back to them and say, would you be into the idea of doing this for nothing, just this week? We're in a real situation, but we have this location. You'll be fed. We'll give you a lovely place to stay for a week. What could you possibly stretch? Do me a huge favor and be very generous if you could come to us. Come to the lakes for a week and shoot. And pretty much all the actors agreed to it. So we were very, 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 very lucky. And
wow.
Rami was obviously into it. He was kind of the big instigator on getting this done. We managed to get Andre, our sound guy, to agree to do it for a week. My friend Luke came up and helped us for, so it was lots of people doing us huge favors, and we just got ourselves there to the lakes. Lots of other things kind of went wrong around that as well.
Go on, give us the list. Come on.
Oh my God.
This is when we know that you've achieved something, you see. When we see the list that's piled up on top of each other.
Well, it was like,
I think at one point you said to me, one of my actors has pulled out. And this was like a week before. And I was like, oh my God, you're going to be in it yourself, aren't you, at this stage?
That was a week before. And that was almost not the biggest scary thing that happened as well.
Oh my God.
So for example, winding back a little bit to it being a web series at first, and I guess in a way I did have in my mind that this could be a feature film. I always did, because I always wrote it in that sense. But what it was we've been talking for so long about making a feature film, and it was always routine. This other script that we've got, and because we'd never made a feature film before, it's a very scary prospect when you set out. The Old Man was written in a sense to be something that wasn't a feature film, that would kind of gear us up, give a bit of experience of doing something longer form, a narrative over 100 or so pages, but just under the guise that it's a web thing and it's episodic, and therefore it's not a conventional film that would then get distributed or released in some way. It was something we could just put out on the internet and just have all that experience, kind of gain all that knowledge. But, the flip side is it would cost us still a lot of money, and putting it out on the web would mean that money could just be gone and nothing would happen. And I'm not in the situation that I can do that. I don't have the money to do that.
Your gift to the world would have been somewhat ridiculously generous.
Yeah. And it probably would have been the end of me. So I was like, and so then it was like, I think I remember saying on the phone to you when you put this to me about maybe it should be a feature film, I was like, am I just making my first feature film by accident? It did kind of feel like that. Because of that kind of suddenly thrown into a feature film realm of production, there was none of that. There was no budget in place. There was no, it was just lots of things that we kind of went naively into and weren't really prepared for. But we somehow just kind of pulled it together. But all the things that went wrong, things like our hire car nearly fell through at the last minute because I realized my passport was out of date, because obviously COVID, I haven't even looked at my passport for 2 years. So literally days before we were about to pick the car up, because we've got a little Mini, and so we needed a big car to lift up a load of kit and props and costume, and obviously we're taking Jude up as well.
Wow, yeah.
Which is another thing that terrified me. Right, I'm going there with a 2-year-old kid. I'm just bringing him onto set. Everything felt so bonkers about it. I didn't think that I couldn't imagine how it could possibly work. So the hire car fell through, and we had to kind of beg and plead with them for us to let it. We had to swap for Debbie to be the driver, but then she didn't have another bit of ID that they were requesting, so we had to basically beg to get the car. Otherwise, it looked at one point, I was saying to Debbie, look, okay, let's just do it in the Mini. And whatever we can't fit in the Mini, which would have been everything, we just do without. Or you drive up in the Mini and I'll just carry what I can on my back And then I'll go on the train. And then one of our lead actors pulled out a week before shooting.
Whoa.
That was terrifying, but in a sense, it was a blessing in disguise. And we found this incredible actor called Jonathan Broke, who's a very, very funny man, who was a great fit with Rich, our other lead. And they kind of knew each other from way back from Edinburgh, from doing improv tours and stuff like that. So they just hit it off, and they just were fantastic with each other. So in a way, it probably worked out for the best for us. But nonetheless, absolutely bloody terrifying. And then another big thing that happened was that I was looking into, of course, we're shooting in this fantastic location that I'd booked a year previously. One, which I may add, I never had the ability or the money to go and recce. So we had not seen the location. We'd only seen pictures of it. Another terrifying aspect, which has really kind of given me heartburn just thinking about it. But anyway, so... But we knew we had it all to ourselves. This beautiful location, this cottage in the hills in the Lake District. But we did have to go up. We had one day where we had to go up to the top of the Old Man, which is very tall. It's one of the highest peaks in the Lake District. Yep. Again, another aspect where I hadn't properly thought through that was difficult later on, but I'll get to that. But and so I started to look up, right, who do I get permission from in order to shoot? Yeah. And so I was looking at, the Cumbrian National Trust Board, or the Cumbrian Film Board, and looking at all these, sending emails out to all these people. I finally got an email back from the Cumbrian National Trust people. And they said, well, we don't own the Old Man. So we don't own the mountain, so we don't know who does. But you can go to like the Land Registries Trust and look it up, and you go to Land Registries Trust and you type in a mountain. Like that's good for finding out who owns a field or a building or a path in some bit of the country. But a mountain, it was like you type in the Old Man of Coniston, and it's just like I don't know. So I was like, after a while, I just gave up. I said, look, well, if it's that hard to find out who owns this thing, and it kind of blew my mind that anyone would own it anyway. I was well, fine. I'll just do without. I'll just Werner Herzog it, and I'll just go up there. And Werner Herzog's always like, filmmakers, we are thieves stealing moments. And I thought, I'm just going to go up there. I'm a thief. I'm just going to go up there and shoot.
Don't ask for permission. Yeah,
don't ask for permission, which is part of our kind of general ethos. Yeah. And of course, when we say it, we mean don't ask permission to start your shooting. Of course, sometimes you are going to have to gain permission to shoot in someone's house or in a location.
We're not saying you literally raid people's private property and just film there and then shit in their toilet and eat all their food. No, we're still. But don't ask for permission to start. But when it comes to getting on mountains, I do feel a bit of an anarchist about these things. I mean, who can possibly own a mountain?
Well, this was my thinking. So I was like, look, we're a film crew. We're not hurting anyone. We're not making any money out of this. We're not kind of ripping anyone off. Not yet. We're not ripping anyone off. And we can go. It's a public. It's got the Old Man has. It's the public pathway. It's a public way. People can walk up and down it how they please. What's stopping us taking the camera up and shooting some scenes? Yeah, totally. So, but I did forge in very Herzog style. I did forge an email from the lady at the Cumbrian National Trust Board saying that it was fine because we were only going to be up there for 2 hours and we don't have any lights and tripods. I made up this whole elaborate email from her saying, well, yes, hi, Mark. Well, seeing as you don't have any lights or permanent stands and you're all handheld and you'll only be there for 2 hours, that's fine. Shoot up there. Feel free. So armed with this email, I headed off to my up north. And then I get an email maybe a day or two before we're about to start shooting from the people who own the copper mines land, which is where our cottages are that we had permission to shoot on. Yeah. And they had said, they had maybe as a last minute panic, had just mentioned it to the people who own the Old Man, who they knew because their land it borders. They're kind of neighbors. Right. And they said, you do have to get permission from these people, and these are who they are. And I was like, I kind of slapped my forehead, and I was like, why did I not ask these people when I was back looking? Why did I not just ask these people and find out if they knew who owned the land? But to be honest, I didn't really want to look that much. I'd kind of resigned myself to the fact, Herzog it, man. We're going to just go up there and we're going to just shoot. Yeah. But now we had been essentially grassed up. Sorry, the people who own the Coffin Mines College. I'm saying you're grasses, but that is kind of what happened. But I was like, right, well, now I really have to make sure everything, all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed, because now they know where I am. They know where I'm staying. Yeah. They know how long I'm going to be there for. They know the date I want to try and shoot and everything. So I started getting these emails from this lawyer who was part of the law firm who looked after it's the Rydell estate, or the Rydell estate, who owned the Old Man of Coniston. Yeah.
It's very intriguing, isn't it, when you find out all these people who actually own the country that we live in?
Yeah, yes. And so, and I Googled, obviously instantly Googled the Rydell estate, and there's Rydell House somewhere in Cumbria, and it was the home of the Diocese of Carlisle or whatever. So it's ancient.
Very interesting.
Very kind of ancient, kind of passed down through generations, a privilege, this kind of everything that this country is kind of based on. Someone was given a mountain. And the weird thing is, to skip to the end of the story, I did end up having to pay a bit of money to shoot on the Old Man. And I did get assigned a location release finally. Literally the day before we were shooting, which was terrifying. But I do have a contract with the name of the man who owns that mountain.
Wow.
It's quite strange. It's weird. It's very surreal for me. This man can, I can't afford a 1-bedroom flat in London, but this guy's got a mountain. I was like, kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
But, so we had a lot of to and fro. And so it looked at one point that we weren't going to get permission to shoot on the mountain, in which we would just have to. My idea was like, I'm just going to have to keep this quiet from the crew, and I'm going to just take us up there, and then I'll just take all responsibility should we get caught. I mean, in a way, we wouldn't being caught on the mountain. It takes 2.5 hours to get up there, so they'd have to chase us up. But the thing is, if they did find evidence that we were up there without having a location release form, then they could block us releasing or distributing or whatever. So that would be terrifying. Yeah. So that was my real kind of headache in the days, and then even the first couple of days of the shoot, because there was no guarantee that we were even allowed to shoot the final scenes of the film up the top of the Old Man, which happens to be the name of the film too, and the whole reason why we're going there. Yeah. It wasn't a given that we were even going to get to be able to shoot a frame on the Old Man. So we were talking about ways we can maybe cheat it around the cottage, or just outside the cottage, and it was crazy.
You are listening to the debut feature film podcast. This is DIY Cinema Cult.
It was an amazing experience, particularly the day we went up the hill. That was crazy. And I think we kind of, by the time that was like our third day of shooting, I think, and we came up with a plan the night before, or in the days leading up to that, what we would do is we would leave very early in the morning, about 6. Yeah. And we would go straight to the top of the mountain, and we'd shoot the end of the film. We wouldn't stop on the way to shoot the scenes of them climbing up. And then what we would do, we just mentally take note of places that might look good on the way up. Yeah. And we'd come down exactly the same way, and we would shoot on the way down the stuff of them going up the hill. Yeah. Which ended up being a fantastic way of doing things, because even when we got up to the top of the hill at 9 a.m. or 9:30 a.m, we only had the top of the hill to ourselves for about half an hour before shitloads of people just showed up. Yeah. And it was busy, and there was a lot of people, and there was lots of people who had to shoot around and tell to be quiet. And it was like shooting in a public park in London. By about 10 o'clock, there was just tons of people everywhere. But we got it done. So
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, I have to say. Looking at all the photos that you were putting on social media, first of all, I was massively jealous I wasn't there, because I just felt like I was missing out massively. And I knew you were having a brilliant time, albeit I now know how much stress there was beneath the surface. But I also know, I'm sure Rami has shot some beautiful stuff, and I'm sure the actors have really pulled it out of the bag. You know, being in a real location obviously kind of creates a real atmosphere for an actor. You know, they're really there, they're really walking up that hill, they're really experiencing it. Seeing all the pictures of you kind of having wrapped, I was just super proud of you, I have to say.
Mate, thank you.
I thought it was a fabulous achievement to get up there and get it shot.
Yeah, I think everyone did really get a kick out of being up there, because we were in the middle of nowhere. I mean, we were very remote, and which was part of the great anxiety about in the build up to the shoot, was just having a very, very low budget shoot in somewhere so remote. It was kind of terrifying when you're trying to pull it together, and you just don't know how you just don't think everyone's going to get there. It's going to work. You know, what if we've run out of, what if actors are unhappy and there's some kind of crew mutiny, there's nowhere for people to go. You can't just go out to the pub, you can't even go to the shops, because it's quite kind of a mission. So the whole kind of logistics of the thing just absolutely terrified me. And then when we got there, you're kind of overwhelmed by the beauty of the place, but then that feeling of kind of awe was kind of suddenly switched to terror when you kind of look up to the left. You're looking at the cottage, you look up to the left, and there's the old man, and it's fucking huge. And you just think, I think I've been really misguided here in my idea that I could just shoot this thing. and I'm kind of going, it's fine, because the cottage is really close to the mountain, and it is really close to the mountain. It's kind of at the bottom of it. But then to think that, we can get a crew with film cameras and audio recording equipment to the top of the mountain. It's like a 2.5 hour trek upwards. It's very fucking steep.
Wow.
I kind of panicked, because I just thought, what have I got us in? What have I got us into? I just couldn't see how it was going to work. So it was a great relief to have the day on the mountain finished. We didn't quite get all the time. I would have loved to shoot more up at the top. There just wasn't the time, and there wasn't the space for us up there once all the kind of walkers came. But I think what we got was great. Was great.
Well done to you all, and well done particularly for you. And it's funny how you talk about the fear and the kind of terror involved, because I think having, both of us have sort of got films over the line in the past. And obviously this is another level, because it's a longer project, and you're going to exotic locations, etc. But the interesting thing is, once it's done, you'll kind of forget all the terror, but you'll have this thing that you've made. And so that's the thing to keep reminding yourself of, is all the stress, all the pain, all the terror will kind of disappear once you've got this thing that you've made, that's yours, that you've created from nothing, from a wish, a desire that you had, and a collaboration that you put together, and a juggling of your personal time and the talents of other people and their goodwill, and all of that stuff is, in a way, it just seems very distant when you first start, because you just think, well, I've got this idea for a film, and then you get to the nitty gritty, and of course, you're literally climbing a mountain. I mean, it couldn't be a more actual metaphor for the whole experience, could it? You've literally got to get up a mountain, and that is what kind of making a film is a bit like. It's like climbing up a bloody mountain with all of the pitfalls that you don't expect to be on the way. Like I didn't even have in my mind that one of your problems would be shitloads of other people. I just think, well, he's going up a mountain. It's going to be hard. It's going to be cold. It might rain. He's going to have to be carrying stuff. He needs tarps, all these normal things. But the idea that one of the big problems is just there's loads of other people there, and then you can't physically shoot it. It's like the you know, it's a little bit like those computer games where you go from level to level to level. Each level, there's a kind of a monster that's worse than the last one.
Yes.
But of course, once you get to the top, you're at the top. And then you've got to the top and you've gone through all those levels, and you don't worry about the monster that you had to overcome in level 1 and level 2 anymore, because you've got there. Yeah. So it's a fabulous metaphor that you've managed to build into your first feature film.
It was.
Or the experience of making a feature film in some way, you know.
It was, and we did laugh about it on the way up the mountain, because it was, you know, we'd have to share the burden of the Arri Alexa Mini. Yeah, which is one of the smallest of the Arri Alexa cameras, but still, I mean, when you're trying to lift up a mountain, it's so heavy. Yeah, and so we kind of switch and we kind of take it in turns, and me and Rami did laugh at each other, we were like a walking metaphor for those 2 hours of getting that camera up the hill, because you're literally just shouldering this thing up a hill, just trying to get it to the top. Yeah, and it's just as bad on the way down as well, but yeah, it was worth it, because once we were up there, it looked incredible. You just feel like you're on the top of the world. There's like these kind of buzzards flying around almost at your head height at the top of the mountain. And it was just incredible. You just see for miles. And we lucked out with weather so much. Like I had it planned in the schedule to be that Friday, the 18th of March. But I was always ready to move it around depending on the weather. We just have to move the shoot days around. And we were just right on the button. We had 2 rainy days. Our first 2 days of shooting were pretty kind of wet and moody. Yeah. And the weather report was showing actually Friday is going to be fine. We were like, wow, that's the day we're going up the hill. And the sun just came out for us, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was so gorgeous.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well done. Well, good stuff. Yes, weather watching is always one of those things which... again, people kind of don't even realize can effectively completely ruin your job, because albeit you think, oh, we'll shoot it anyway, it's weather, rain just slows you down. You get half the amount of shots in bad weather. It's not just that it isn't perfect for your moment in your film. It's literally just that it takes much, much longer to get yourself around.
Yeah, and you just have to manage your kit and make sure everything's dry and protected. And it's just, you're right. You're right. It does kind of slow stuff down. But the last half of the shoot, the last 3 days, we had glorious weather, and it kind of worked out very nicely. The brothers turn up at this cottage and it's quite rainy and drizzly and moody. And by the time they kind of come back down the mountain, it's lovely and sunny. So it kind of works nicely for the film as well. Yeah. But the schedule was kind of quite grueling, actually. We did have a lot to get through, and we did fall behind. I think even after the first day, we were kind of a scene behind. And then the second day, that was two scenes, maybe 3 scenes. And I found myself, I think it was on the night after we came back from the mountain, going up the mountain. I just had to sit down and write, because the next following day was a really heavy day as well. So I thought and we'd missed loads of shots. The plan was to go up the hill, come down and shoot some stuff at the flat in the evening. Yeah. And then we didn't shoot any of that stuff, clearly, because we were just knackered, and it took us much, much longer to kind of do the mountain stuff. So I had to sit down, and I basically wrote this new scene that basically took all the story beats from about 3 or 4 scenes, crammed them into one scene. So it meant we could drop happily 3 or 4 scenes, so we didn't have to shoot. Rami had the brilliant idea of shooting it there's a hallway in one of the cottages, and it's where we shot the brothers' bedrooms on either, so basically their doors are facing each other. Yeah. And Rami said, why don't they just come out of their bedrooms and they're kind of in the corridor? We'll lock the shot off, and they're just popping in and out the doors, and they can do the dialogue. And so when I wrote it and we blocked it, we had them kind of popping in and out the doors, like almost like cuckoos out of clocks. Oh, yeah. During the scene. And it made this really, really lovely scene, because it kind of helped with the idea of these 2 brothers who aren't really together anymore, in any kind of way, but are kind of forced together for this weekend. And here they are almost kind of living their childhood lives again, where they live in the same house, their rooms are opposite each other. And it kind of built up that kind of tension really, really nicely. And it ends up being a really, really great scene, but it was written on the fly out of desperation, because we just had to get through the stuff. We had to get through the story, and we were missing it. We were dropping scenes every day. So that really, really helped us out a lot. So it's things like that you learn on the shoot, you think, and it also teaches you a lot about writing, because the scene was actually great. And I just cut out loads of waffle that was in there from the other 3 or 4 scenes.
Yeah.
And just took all the key lines from those 3 or 4 scenes and stuck them into one. And it worked. And it was really snappy because it had to be, because it was crammed together. Yeah. But it worked. It worked so well. Worked really, really well.
Well, they often sort of say that the script is only really there to sort of get you started, and the final script writer really is sort of the director and then the editor. So you're making the film right until you kind of hit export, as in there's still so many story decisions to be made. But that's amazing that you kind of managed to pull something kind of wonderful out of that adversity, as it were. That's classic DIY thinking, I think, as in how can we do the whole show right here? If we can't climb up the mountain, let's just do the whole thing right here and do it.
It really was almost that, which would have been a real shame, because it would have been shame having to sheet the mountain just outside the cottage when we were literally at the bottom of the mountain. I mean, I think we probably would have gone up and shot something anyway. But like I say, it would have been these kind of rather kind of scary law firms that would have kind of chased us down when it came to distribution time and asked us to pay
the
up.
Lord of the Manor.
Yeah. I sent so many begging emails to that lawyer guy, and I was saying, look, we are just a small production company, i.e. it's just me. We're not working for any broadcaster. We're not working for any production company. Yeah. We're not funded in any way. We don't have a distribution deal. And he still bloody charged me, but he was,
And you can't quite pull off it's just a student film thing anymore, can we? Unfortunately, they take one look at you and think, not sure, man. Mature student doesn't quite bring it for me. But well done. You kind of pulled it together. And so how much of the script do you feel like you've shot? What do you think is left?
I feel like we shot about 70% of the film.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
So we done really, really well. And we really pulled it out the bag. Rami was amazing.
Fabulous.
I've got to mention that actually everyone, all our cast and crew are amazing. So Richard Glover, Jonathan Broke and Rachel Barry were our actors that were up there. They just turned in incredible performances. Yeah. Rami was amazing, our DOP, and he was just a real workhorse. He pretty much did the whole film handheld. There was a couple of locked off shots. He nearly killed him. We nearly broke Rami, but it was
he's tough.
He's a tough nut. So it was really worth it. And then Andre, our sound guy, was just brilliant. And everyone was the perfect kind of character we needed to be up there, right, making that film. And everyone just kind of pulled together really nicely. Debbie, of course, probably had the hardest job there, because she was wardrobe, makeup. She cooked for everyone, lunch and dinner for everyone for 7 days.
Oh my God.
And she had a 2-year-old in tow as well. So I don't quite know how she did. So hats off to
Debbie. Well done. And everybody else. Yeah. Congratulations, team. So, and have you got any plans? Are you just taking a little bit of a break, or you got any plans for the next batch?
Well, I've kind of run headlong back into loads of work. Like me and you were chatting on the phone, weren't we? How busy we suddenly are. So I kind of hit a wall of work when I got back. So I've only just started looking at stuff, really. And earlier today, I started to off the first, movements of organizing my footage and the project. But I've had a look at stuff, and it does look great. I don't know. The next batch will be, we need some money. We need some finishing money to finish the film, do the London shoot. So that'll be the next thing. I mean, we're going to release this podcast in the future, so these things might be out now, but my next steps will be a teaser trailer, teaser scenes, little promotional films, just to kind of help us drum up funds to gain that finishing money and to kind of get that money in place to do the final shoots. Because, we've got things like, we've got some deferred payments for people that we need to kind of honor. And those deferments were basically, we signed contracts that people agreed they would defer that week on the promise that the next shoots would not be deferred. And so we need to have money for the second half to make sure that the production can complete basically properly.
Well, it's great that the guys have been so kind of understanding. This is how DIY projects are made, is by goodwill and people who've got a sort of passion and sort of love for the project, and hopefully, you know, things come together and then everybody gets what they deserve sort of at the end of the day.
I'm probably going to look like in the next week at a couple of avenues as well, like this Kickstarter, or maybe there's like a finishing fund, like if the BFI or Creative England have something that's kind of a finishing fund that we could maybe apply for. And Rami was also saying approach production companies and say, and show your test of reel and some scenes and see if they would want to take it on. Then that kind of throws up questions of, you know, of course, then it becomes someone else shares the project with you or takes it on completely or what have you. There's that kind of aspect. And then, you know, do production companies want to take on something that has already had Kickstarter funding, you know, so there's all these kind of issues that kind of throw up. So I need to kind of look into that this week and just investigate that. But yeah, it's the next stage is just raising that money to finish the film, because it's just what we've shot so far. Honestly, Rami's done such a great job, and Andre on the sound, and all the actors. What we've got, the stuff we've gathered so far is so lovely and so good. There's such lovely scenes there, and I don't want to wait too long. I don't want to sit on it too long before we get this film finished and in front of people. A
lot of the next scenes are kind of London based, but inside homes and things, aren't they? So
yeah, pretty much.
It's not so seasonally dependent, or it's not so location dependent. It's more about finding the right kind of place that just gives it the right atmosphere, and then that can happen. A lot of it's interiors, isn't it? I believe
that's right. Yeah, most of it is interiors, and there's still people to cast. There's still actors to cast as well. So it's just it was really a film of two halves, you know, because once I'd locked in that location and it was set for that March shoot, all the focus had to be on just getting that done first, and then we knew that the rest could kind of follow in some way.
Just start, as we know. Just start.
Just start. That's how it got done. But Rami getting Rami on board was absolutely brilliant, because you know, I was so ready to shoot it in a very, very DIY way. I was even thinking of using, you know, bits of my kit and bits of your kit.
Yeah.
At one point, when I had a sound guy I was speaking to, when he fell through or decided not to do the film, I was going to boom the sound myself.
Yeah.
You know, all of these things that would have, just looking back now, would have been absolutely disastrous.
Yeah.
You know, because when you're desperate, you kind of just, I mean, I was so desperate that when our first actor pulled out, I said to Rich, "Shall I play Drew?" And he was like, he kind of had this very slightly horrified look on his face, and luckily Jonathan just came along just at the right time and was amazing. So, but Rami, he pulled some kit together. He pulled the Ari together, and a couple of bits of lighting kit. We were grossly underkitted in terms of what we were trying to do. Like, we needed so much more, but we Rami really made it work with what we had.
Fabulous.
It looked fantastic.
And I'm guessing you weren't carting massive sets of prime lenses up that mountain. Were you shooting on a zoom, or how did you shoot on that?
Took maybe 3 lenses up the mountain. So he kind of really slimmed it. The kit was really slimmed down for that. So even in the sense that we were kind of cutting it fine in terms of batteries and stuff like that, which is why we came up with the plan of going to the top of the mountain first and shooting the vital stuff first. Because if we ran out on the way down, then we could shoot around the cottage and kind of make it work somewhere else. But the kit was really, really streamlined. So he basically over the first 2 days, we kind of experimented with some lenses, and so we knew what kind of worked well for certain kind of scenarios, and the ones that seemed to be our favorites. And so when it came to going up the mountain, we just slimmed it right down. So someone said on the night before we were going up the hill, it costs $5,000 if, in mountain rescue are called out. And I was like, oh my God. I don't want to know. Didn't want to know that. I didn't want to know that, because if it just takes one of your party to go over on their ankle and bust it, or break an ankle or whatever, or take a massive fall. That's the least that could happen. But or take a massive fall and injure themselves really badly. And then you're in all kinds of horrible trouble. Luke, who was on the shoot with us, he was quite experienced. So he was very much into, what we needed to bring with us, and how hot and cold we were going to be at certain points of the climb, and the water we needed to carry, how much water we needed to carry. And
wow, yeah, you need him.
And all our kit, and and he knew the route really well. But even hearing him kind of explain how, all the things we had to think about, as I was writing, I was going, yeah, and then the next day we'll just go up the hill and it'll be fine and the weather will be great. And, when you're writing these things, it's very, very easy. But on the day before you're about to do this, set off for this climb at 6 a.m. the next morning, you suddenly it's quite terrifying thinking about, oh my God, I don't know about everyone else's fitness levels, are they going to be able to make it up the hill? Of course I did it when I was in my 20s with a bunch of mates, but obviously now we're all in our 40s plus, and it was quite a serious climb. It was absolutely exhausting, and but it just meant that getting up there was just all the sweeter. It was amazing.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. I love it. Well done. I can't wait to see the results, even if there's just some loose shots. I'm sure the listeners will be very excited to see stuff. And it's a proper achievement. You've got something together, and 70% shot is actually amazing.
It's so beautiful.
You sent me a message earlier about the KLF movie, which
yes.
Who Killed the KLF, which I rented earlier today, but I kind of had it on while I was working. I think I watched the first third.
Yeah.
And then I thought, and switched it off, and I thought, no, I can't. I have to
You've
watch
got to
this
give
properly.
it due attention. Yeah, so I did actually watch it last night. I couldn't help myself because obviously, they're a bit of an influence on us, and in many ways, many lessons from the KLF have kind of manifest in some ways in what we're doing. Both of us making foolhardy decisions to make films from nothing, and not asking for permission and getting on with it anyway, and managing to do it as well. So it's an interesting film because it's not officially sanctioned by the two guys from the KLF.
Oh, right. Is it not?
So there's no interviews with them that were made for the film. They've cut together interviews that have been found and sourced. Right. So, but it's still, it's got fascinating insights. And obviously, we're big fans. And the brilliant nature of the KLF's kind of can-do attitude that ended up with them obviously at the point where they literally had £1 million that they couldn't think of anything to do with it but to set fire to it. They're the end. They're almost the end point of the absurdity of the DIY attitude, as in, if you can just make anything happen and what comes from that is money, well, then, what comes from the money? Well, what's the use of the money? If you just made anything you wanted happen, come to life through the force of your will, your collective will, and your humor and your wit and your intelligence, and you controlled the whole process, well, then if you end up with £1 million at the end of that and more, then what worth is that money? Because that money didn't help you to get you to where you were. You just did that anyway. So it's a fabulous, it's a brilliant metaphor for the DIY filmmaker. It's a well-made film. I mean, it's in some ways it'd have been great if both Jimmy and Bill would have been participants in it. But from what I gather, and from what I've also interestingly gathered in a more personal way recently, because I have had some contact with, secondhand contact, but contact with one member of the KLF, that they don't like to look back.
Right. Okay.
They will only want to look forward. So their interest is in focusing on future projects and what's happening now.
Yeah.
But for us fans, it's great to see a film told well about.
It was amazing. I thought it was beautifully made. The section that I saw, and also I loved the bit about how, you know, it was all basically being run out of Jimmy Corty's kind of squat, wasn't it? And they literally had in the basement boxes and boxes of records. Yeah. And that's where they were getting. That's where they got when they got printed. That's where they got delivered to. Yeah. But they were beating hand over fist all the major record labels and all the kind of marketing money that they were pumping into things. Yeah. They were just running it out of this kind of squat somewhere in London, and I just can't. Yeah. It just seems, and that must feed into that idea of their, you know, well, what's $1 million? It's all bullshit anyway. Yeah. You know, the fact that they could beat all these record companies at their own game. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, obviously we don't know for sure, because interestingly, they don't know why they did the $1 million thing. After making all these brilliant records, I think they all, and these sort of having these huge pop hits, they kind of felt like they got to the end of that mission, the mission which was get to number one. Well, they did that, and then they told other people how to get to number one, and those people then did get to number one. Yeah. And then they got to number one 5 or 6 times or whatever around the world. And then the next mission was like, well, what is our next mission? And obviously, you know, we're in a society that's based around money and consumerism, and in some ways they saw that, I think, as a fantastic critique. But I mean, certainly it didn't come without a certain amount of soul searching, as in, you know, I don't think that they were entirely satisfied with their reasoning. I don't think they had solid reasoning behind it. But I do recommend it as a film, particularly as obviously they're a big influence on us. And I have recently, part of my film project has recently overlapped with the KLF. In fact, there is a section, as you know, in the film with of course, with the KLF visiting, that you've so wonderfully animated and designed for us. As a cult, as the DIY cinema cult, you know, the KLF are part of our, you know, we are a polytheist cult, and we do celebrate a certain number of deities, you know. Yes, Louis Buñuel and maybe Werner Herzog and David Lynch would be among, and of course the KLF I think are among them. So it's for sure, and I mean I think you're right that we're a cult, but in the chaos magic kind of way of a cult, as in choosing to pick up a kind of and follow something whenever it suits us, and then being equally happy to drop it at the next kind of opportunity, should we need to choose another godhead to follow to take us up that mountain, you know. So, Aaron, to tell me, how's the film coming? What stage are you at with Free Party? Well, I definitely feel like I'm climbing a mountain too, I mean, those feelings of fear and terror are fairly regular in my day. So, we have a top of a mountain coming in very, very quickly, which is in the next 7 weeks' time, almost to the day. We are going to be screening something to a real audience. Now, we're not in the situation where we can show it to members of the paying public, because licensing is such for music and for footage that you've got to have all of your legalities well and truly sorted. So my equivalent of the Lord of the Manor that you had, who owned the mountain, is the entire copyright industry, which of course is quite funny thinking about the KLF, who are such kind of infringers on purpose on the copyright world. But basically, to screen something in public to a paying audience, you need to have certain licenses in place, particularly for music and for archive footage. And the reality of that is that the types of footage that I'm using, so say, for example, news clips or bits from libraries,
or big rave tracks from 30 years ago. Costs a fortune to kind of pay to do sort of full licenses for that. But what we have got is we pitched to the Arts Council for a kind of companion exhibition idea, and the idea was that the film can only really express a kind of an idea. The documentary is a very broad subject, about sort of free parties and what have you. And even within an hour and a half to 2 hours long film, it's going to be very, very hard to sort of cover all of the ground that enormous cultural explosion has. And so I always thought, well, maybe there's a non-linear way for people to experience this as well that can kind of take in areas that the film won't be able to cover, because the film has to kind of, in some way, follow a linear form. It starts, it has a middle, and it comes to an end. Whereas maybe there's an opportunity for people to look in more depth in a more of an exhibition format. And so we pitched actually for some money from the Arts Council for £23,000, ironically, speaking of the KLF, etc. And the idea being that we would put a free exhibition on for a week in Bristol, and off the back of that, there would be some screenings of the film in whatever form it's currently at.
Right.
And then there'd be some parties attached to that, and there would be Q&As and talks and sorts of, make it a cultural moment beyond just it being a film that people watch. So amazingly, that's all happening. And it's going to be happening in about 6 weeks' time, which is really scary.
Fantastic.
So that our aim at the moment is to get the film into some sort of shape so that we can watch it with an invited audience. And the invited audience are going to be drawn largely from the people who donated towards the Kickstarter and contributors for the film itself. So we will invite people to come and have a watch, maybe some industry people as well. It might be that we are about 80% finished. And so, there might be some things like watermarked footage. There might be some things like unfinished soundtracks. We may not have all the credits done, but we're going to show it in as best a form as we possibly can. It may be that in the end we're not quite ready so that we show some excerpts, but we hope to show as much as we can to an invited audience on the date, which is obviously going to be quite significant for a lot of people, which is the 30th anniversary of Castle Morton that week. So the event, the exhibition is all happening that week. In a strange way, what I've realized is that we're almost at the end of the edit process, although we're very long. It's still about 2 hours and 45 minutes. And there's certainly a lot of chiseling down to be done. There's only so much you can kind of shorten things before you actually need to start just choosing, a little bit like you. Okay, maybe just these scenes, we just can't do these scenes. Well, maybe some scenes just have to be cut. And obviously you're always thinking, no, not that one, not that one. And some scenes that we've had perhaps luxuriously exploring certain moments, maybe we have to summarize them a little bit more. So those really tough decisions now about, how much do people care about this? Which audience is going to respond to this aspect of the story? It's a very tricky thing. But we're going to show it in 6 weeks' time, which is absolutely terrifying in some way. And in that time, we've got to come down from now. At the moment, we've got a working assembly, like I said, about 2 hours 40-ish, and we've got to get it, I think, below 2 hours, ideally a little bit less than that. And it's got to go from being fairly rudimentary looking at the moment to at least polished enough so that people feel like there's the story is very clear. So we got our work cut out.
Oh, mate, I feel your pain.
There's more monsters at the bottom of the mountain.
I feel your pain, because I do remember coming, getting back to work after New Year's and kind of going, right, and having it written in my diary, like it's 10 weeks now until we shoot.
Yeah.
And just feeling so unprepared and, not having enough of anything, of money, of kit, of crew, and just counting down. But each Monday I'll turn the page in my diary and it'd be like, right, now it's 9 weeks, now it's 8 weeks, now it's 7, 6, 5. So I know exactly how that feels, because that was giving me such sleepless nights. Yeah, just not knowing how it was all going to come together and if it would come together. But I'm sure for you it will, and I'm going to be free soon to jump back on and help out in amazing in animation or what have you. Yeah, well. Definitely. Well, I'm hoping it's a kind of an all hands on deck for the next kind of 3, 4, 5 weeks with everybody who's able to help, which is fabulous. We've got Nick, our editor, who's been, he's been helping out all the way through selling his flat and moving back to his parents. So he's been properly missioning. He's currently cutting down acts 4 and 5 into some sort of workable shape, and then we should have Andrew, who's also one of the other editors, coming back on board. He's also contributed loads of amazing footage, so I'm always thankful for him. And then you're the icing on the cake, Mark, bringing you back. This is the dream team. The dream team is forming. We've got entire sections at the moment where me and Nick just sort of nod to each other going, that's fine, Mark will sort that out. Oh, lovely. That concerns me. Yeah. So we've got a few bits that are possibly light on anything else, but a graphic, grounded, animated approach. It's going to be good. It's quite a good reference to KLF film, because there's a couple of great bits where you think, there's only one way they could have done this scene, which is animation. Yeah. And there's a key bit right at the end where you think they've got this recorded conversation, and yes, potentially they could have done a recreation of it, but they could only really do it as an animated version. So it's quite a good reference in terms of it's a mixed media approach. You've got archive footage, archive sound. Obviously, you've got all the stuff that the KLF did, the music videos and the TV appearances and all of that. But then they've done some recreations, which we've done a very small amount of, but we didn't really have the budget for recreating Castle Morton. It's it's a lot of people. Just 5 people. Just lots of them. Yeah, like our friend Gareth Edwards. He's got like a broomstick across the shoulders with lots of balloons as heads. Virgins. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely one area that we think may change after the screening is actually the ending of the film, because something may, let's say, not sure, but it might actually be occurring the week that the film is screening. I'm not going to say any more, but if it does occur, then perhaps it becomes part of the ending of the film. So I'm just going to leave it at that and don't want to tempt fate. So it could be a very self-referential thing of us filming the end of the film when we're showing the film. Who knows? But anyway. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm intrigued. We shall see. But I'm intrigued. It's been a mission, that's for sure. And it's still a mission to go. Oh, mate. Well, I wish you all the best for the final stages. Well, lovely seeing your lovely face again, Aaron. It's been a long time. Absolutely. Likewise. Well, there you go, episode 26 of DIY Cinema Cult. We have some exciting news about The Old Man. We have a brand new teaser trailer for our feature film, and you can see that trailer right now by going to kickstarter.com, searching for The Old Man, or you can click directly onto the link that will feature in the show notes of this episode. Go to Kickstarter, find The Old Man, and you can see our new teaser trailer. You can also see all the ways you can get involved in this film right now. There are lots of really exciting benefits and rewards involved, so go to our Kickstarter page, see how you want to get involved, and join us on this journey now of bringing this film to life. We really need your help, and you can be a vital influence in getting this film onto the big screen. What's more, we will be releasing an episode of DIY Cinema Cult every week of our Kickstarter campaign. That's every Monday. So next Monday we will have episode 27, in which we will be talking to our lead stars of The Old Man. That's Richard Glover and Jonathan Broke. It's a brilliant, brilliant episode. They came on to chat to me and Aaron. We had such a laugh. So don't miss that one next Monday. Also, do make sure you check into our Facebook page. That's either DIY Cinema Cult or The Old Man Facebook pages, as well as our Kickstarter project page for The Old Man, because we will be dropping little behind-the-scenes mini documentaries during our Kickstarter campaign. I think we've got like 1 or 2 a week. So do keep an eye out for those, because there's some great info there. We've got some great films about the actual production of the film, us going up the mountain, our cast and crew, and the locations that we had up in Cumbria and the Lake District. So do keep an eye out for those. Anyway, thank you so much for all your help and support so far, and see you next time. Follow us on Twitter at DIY Cinema Cult, or on Instagram we are DIY_cinema_cult. Seek out the DIY Cinema Cult group on Facebook, or why not email us at DIYCinemaCult@gmail.com.